China is pushing to curb its CO2 emissions and combat some of its pollutants in the air. And one strategy that they're using is some really stiff fines for anyone who breaks some of the laws that they've recently passed, and they've even detained hundreds of people. To give you more details, in 2016 alone, 720 people were detained in China for what they consider damaging the environment. So not following some of the regulations that they put forth and they passed. Now, Beijing alone rejected 11 projects worth 97 billion yen, or $14 billion, due to environmental concerns last year. Now, before we get into more details on what they've done to punish people who haven't followed their regulations, keep in mind that recently there were 2 episodes where the environment was so bad, the air was so polluted that people were given warnings and they weren't supposed to go outside. These are usually referred to as pollution episodes, or red warnings, right? And so they're told, okay, the air's really unsafe, you can't go outside. This happened around the holidays, and then it happened again in January. And so they're concerned, but that's not to be mistaken with annual trends. If you look at annual trends, since they've passed some of these regulations, they've worked. And they've also shifted a lot of their focus for a long time now on renewable energies. We'll get to that in a second as well.
So at first I might piss you off a little bit here. So whenever a country is developing super fast, they get pollution. So that happened here in the US, and it was horrible in the 1970s, and not just in the air, but the rivers would light on fire, they would be green, and even before that, of course, as we're going through the Industrial Revolution. In Turkey in the 1990s, as they were ramping up and becoming a top 20 economy, horrible pollution just like this in Istanbul, I remember. And now it's happening in China as their economy grows at a huge rate. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything about it. It means the opposite. It means you should do something about it,
right?
Because people don't want to go to Beijing or Shanghai because they have unbelievable pollution. So they're wearing the masks, etc., but they're worried about their kids. So it's incumbent upon the government to take action. What's interesting is how much more action China is taking than the U.S. and how much more seriously they're taking it. Now, they've got a more severe situation because they can literally see the pollution.
Their situation is definitely more severe. In fact, they're doing what they can to lower the air pollution to what Western countries are currently experiencing. So yes, their situation is unquestionably worse. But there are a lot of interesting, unique factors that play a role in the air quality in China that I want to get to in a second. But first, there were more actions taken against those who didn't follow through with the regulations. So meanwhile, Beijing also filed 13,127 environmental protection cases last year, with fines totaling 21.8 million, the Shanghai Daily said in a separate report citing local environmental authorities. And then finally, they're shifting a lot of focus onto transportation, because that's one of the main causes of pollution in China, in addition to coal. And more than 10,000 vehicles were punished for excessive exhaust emissions.
Yep. And so if you're in the camp of, and unfortunately, like if you're watching internationally, you might be thinking, this is so obvious, guys. Why are you continuing to emphasize it? No, here in America, there's a whole right-wing camp. More than 50% of the people in our legislatures and our president who say, no, you shouldn't do anything to protect the environment. It's amazing. It's stunning, right? But remember, you say, oh, well, you know, things work out. We had bad pollution, and then it worked out. And then now China has bad pollution, and then it works out. Yeah, how? How does it work out? It worked out, but by us passing regulations. We said you're not allowed to pollute, and that's how we clean things up. And that's how we got rid of acid rain and got rid of the horrible air pollution. Now, the problem with climate change is that you can't see the damage we're doing to the ozone. It's not like pollution where you can see it with your eyes and you go, oh, that's really bad, I'm having trouble breathing, right? It's up in the ozone, and so since they can't see the carbon emissions with their own eyes, Senator Inhofe here comes in with a snowball into the Senate and goes, well, you can see the snowball, so it must not be getting warmer, but you can't see the damage we're doing to the ozone, so don't worry about it, don't do anything.
Right. I mean, and look, the reason why I think the politicians in the United States get away with doing little to nothing when it comes to climate change is because look at that issue in a broader picture, in the context of what's happening in the country, there's been a lot of focus on jobs and people who have lost their manufacturing jobs. There are people who are upset because they've lost their jobs in the coal industry, for instance. And so it's difficult for the few politicians who are principled, let's say like Bernie Sanders, to raise enough interest in this issue where action is actually taken. Because the citizens in this country, to be quite honest with you, aren't prioritizing this.
Yeah. And so China here embarrasses it a little bit by showing what you could do if you wanted to. I mean, they're putting people in jail.
They are. But look, it goes further than that, because I don't think that that's enough, right? You can fine people, you can detain people if they're not following the law. And by the way, in China, I feel like they imprison people if you look at someone the wrong way. They're very tough
and at
in
the
China.
same time, look, I'm not trying to defend China overall.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can take billions of dollars out of the country and you won't get imprisoned. It depends on who you know
That's
and how
right.
you're connected.
Right. So, but they also kick everyone's ass when it comes to renewable energy. So I was reading about this a little bit just to see where they're at. I knew that they were definitely ahead of the United States when it came to things like solar power, but no, they're ahead of the rest of the world. So they actually have the world's largest wind power capacity. They were just named that. Also, the world's largest generator of solar power. And finally, recently tripled its renewable power generation. Hydropower capacity. They just tripled that. And they just allocated more funds for renewable energy to the tune of $361 billion. But regardless of everything they're doing, they also have challenges that are unique to China. Meteorological challenges, things like humidity, slow winds. That kind of stuff impacts the air quality in northern China's cities. And so they're having an issue with that, and they're still addicted to coal. Let's keep it real. They have that problem as well.
So that slow wind problem sounds like a Jeb Bush problem. Low energy in the winds.
Yeah.
Okay, now, last thing on that is, hey, America, you gonna let China beat us?
Yeah,
I thought we were number one.
we are.
Okay, we need to be number one in renewable energy. I believe in you, America. I think we can do it. I know China's got more people, but we have a much larger economy still to this day. So if we want to be competitive, whether you're a conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter. And it's about creating jobs as well. We need to be number one in renewable energy. Now, I know somebody who's in office, or who's going to be in office soon, who says that he wants America to win again, that we're not winning. Right now, we're not winning to China. Can we beat them in renewable energy? Let's have that race. If you like this Young Turks video, wait till you get a load of Young Turks membership. So many more shows and no ads at all. Come and see tytnetwork.com/join.